Good afternoon. Thank you, Tony. Thank you to the Elyria Rotary Clubs. Thank you to the Lorain County Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity to come and share with you all. In my address today, I'll really be focusing on the economy. If I was to talk about the entire state of the city address, we'd like have a slumber party here because there's a lot going on in the city, but I'm going to make sure we focus on the economy today. And as we've done in previous years, we've tried to recognize and acknowledge some of our key partners in the community. When I first came into office, we wanted to recognize Lorain County Community College. And I see Dr. Ballinger here. I want to recognize Dr. Ballinger and the Lorain County Community College. Also, I want to recognize the wait staff for the work that they've done to serve us. Dean, Marcus, Jose, we can give them a hand. And so we recognized them in the first year. Then the second year, we did a joint State of the City address with the City of Lorain, where we recognized Second Harvest Food Bank, who just did a heroic effort during the pandemic, helping to keep people fed, and they've still been on the front lines addressing the hunger issue. So we gave them the key to the city. And now this is the third one that we'll be doing. And when we thought about this, who was worthy to be receiving this sort of honor, we thought about a number of factors, but the thing that really stands out with Ridge Tool, the thing that stands out is not only the legacy they have of doing business for 100 years, but I don't know if you know, they got like a weird cult that happens underneath the company. There's people with Ridge Tool tattoos all around the country, and Kevin can speak to that. I mean, like, people are die-hard Rigid fans, and we went and talked about it at the office, and it was funny. Kevin had shared with me how thankful he was that our administration was engaged with the company, and I'll let you give your. I won't speak for yourself on your comment that you made about that. But we started talking about these people with these tattoos of Ridge Tool, and we were like, why would people be walking around with Rigid Tool tattoos? And we started talking about this legacy of making things and how people get attached to their tool. And their tool is what helps them get their job done every day, make life easier. And I felt like that really was representative of the city of Elyria. Not only the city of Elyria having this legacy of making things, but also the importance of empowering people with the tools they need to be successful. So we wanted to make sure we acknowledge you by giving you a key to the city. And our hopes with you celebrating your 100 years of doing business is that you'll do another 100 years of business in the city of Elyria. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Kevin Rhodes up from Ridge Tool to accept the key to the city from the city of Elyria. Yes, yes. And that camera right there, straight ahead. You want to give some remarks?
Sure, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I don't have a tattoo. I'm working on that one, picking it out. But we'll get them together someday, right? I'd like to thank you for this honor, and it's my honor to accept this on behalf of the entire Ridge Tool team. Rigid is a part of the Emerson Professional Tools portfolio and is celebrating a major milestone this year with 100 years of designing, building, and innovating tools that are trusted on job sites around the world and handed down from generation to generation. Not only are our tools valued across generations, but they've been built by generations. We have a very common for our employees to be second, third, sometimes fourth generation employees of ours. And we have one family I can think of in particular. The father worked for us for 40 years and the son worked for us for 56 years. We're a 100-year-old company. Think about that one for a second, right? So our hardworking team members also have brought their passion to Elyria and Lorain County. We have a strong heritage of being active partners in the civic organizations, such as the ones represented here today, to partner to make our communities a better place for us all to raise our families, live, and thrive. We are honored to accept this today, and thank you, and here's to the next 100 years.
Thank you, Kevin, for that. And so now we'll shift into a little bit. I'm going to give a couple remarks, and then actually we're going to do more of a conversation style here. As you know me, I'm always trying to mix it up, but definitely we're going to have a conversation style sort of state of the city, again, specifically around the economy. And then we will open it up for some Q&A and hear what you all are curious about. So in a time of misinformation that we're in right now, a time of anger, and quite frankly, a time of weirdness, I think it's so important for addresses like this to happen, to provide clarity, to provide inspiration, and also provide understanding of what's happening in the city of Elyria. As you've probably seen in this age of misinformation, you can just, if you're not familiar, just go on Facebook and click search and type Elyria, and you will see that there's a whole host of misinformation out there that we have to compete with. I mean, we saw it on the national level, and we're not exempt here locally. There's also this intense bit of anger in the country, and I recently was watching one of our congresspeople share, he called it the outrage Olympics, where there's a certain form of leadership that's developing right now that is not concerned about the needs of the people, but more concerned about how can I connect with the angriest of our residents and be their champion. And so that's what we're up against right now in terms of leadership in our community. The lazy leadership way is to try to find that subset of angry individuals and try to be their champion and keep them angry and find reasons to be angry. Or we can demonstrate a leadership of hope, a leadership of opportunity, of advocacy, of opening doors, building bridges. And the last piece is just this weirdness. You know, this is my first time being an incumbent during an election year, and my, oh my, are people acting weird. It's like 3 months ago we were best of friends, and all of a sudden, like, you're judging my shoes now. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So that weirdness adds to the dynamic of what's going on, but I'm really hoping that, again, we can persevere over that. And if there's one thing I'm going to be asking of you all, is to love louder. The hatred is so loud, but the advocates, the people who really care, I get so much support out in the community of folks, you know, we're with you. I'm like, can you say that a little louder for the haters out there? But just in general, I think we need to fight with love for what we believe in. Oh, yeah, you guys, I saw y'all was ready to go. Yeah, you can give a hand to that if you agree with that. I see you. So again, I wanted to have a clarifying conversation about what the journey has been like for the city of Elyria from an economic standpoint. And one of the people who are going to join me up here is Dawn Calvert. I'll introduce her up in a second. But when I was, after I got elected, you know, I knew one of the key pieces to a successful administration was who I was going to surround myself with. I knew that from day one, like who you surround yourself with, you know, what they say, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So I reached out to Dawn because I had worked with her previously, and I shared with her this vision of building a city for entrepreneurs, attracting employers through investing in our workforce and making sure we have the skills ready, and keeping and growing the companies that exist within the city. And I have to tip my hat to Dawn because she stepped out on faith as I stepped out on faith and quit her job and joined our administration from day one. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what that journey was like, and you're going to hear from her of what that journey has been like, hear her perspective on it, and then we're going to talk about where do we go from here as a city. So with that being said, I'll welcome to the stage Ms. Dawn Calvert, our Assistant Safety Service Director. Welcome to the Frankly Speaking, Frank Conversation podcast that's being recorded live from the state of the city. So I wanted to talk about our journey together over these past, 3.5 years. When we came through the doors in January, we were already starting to see Best Buy had announced our week 1, January 7th. We started January 2nd. January 7th, Best Buy announces that they're closing their doors at the mall. First or second week of February, we get bricks falling off of the buildings downtown Elyria. And, when you got into this, did you think, like, what have I gotten myself into? Or what was as we started to get these challenges so early, I'd love to hear from you kind of how you were interpreting these challenges and how you felt after hearing those challenges. And why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more, too?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dawn Calvert. As the mayor said, Assistant Safety Service Director, and I oversee economic development in the city, but have been involved in the county in economic development for several years. So when I joined Mayor Whitfield, I was very familiar with the city of Elyria, and I have a lot of affection for the city and see it as so much potential, so much opportunity, and so many great people that make it such a special community to work in, for people to live in, to come visit, to see, and take advantage of all the resources we have in Elyria. But to go back when we first started, no, I did not see these challenges coming. It was a different set of challenges that I thought we were going to be faced with. I thought we were going to be immediately focused on some of the more macroeconomic challenges, things like workforce, reviving manufacturing, revitalizing downtown, which certainly are all still very important to us. But I did not see the little things that would come and attempt to distract us from that, like bricks falling. And what in other communities might not be a major news story was in the city of Elyria. And having to direct your focus, redirect onto problems you didn't know you were going to have. So I think that for me personally, I love solving problems. So it's something that motivates me personally, but also we have fantastic people at the city who also are equally motivated to solve problems and really care about the community. So I think it's a testament to the administration, to your leadership, to the people within the city, that we didn't see challenges like a pandemic, like bricks falling.
Don't get into the pandemic. Yeah. I'm going to get into that. Don't jump.
Yeah. But I think we just are very resilient as a community.
For sure. So in response to those bricks falling off of buildings, we cracked down on property owners. But we didn't just have a stick. We also had a carrot. We went to our city council and created a program to assist individuals with either demoing their buildings, and eventually we created a program if you wanted to rehab the inside of your building. So, those programs helped us now. We've had the old McDonald's torn down. We've had the Mussey building torn down. And then fast forward a year into it, or actually fast forward a couple months, into the job, we have this pandemic. But aside from the pandemic, we'll get to that in a second, because we kind of got pandemic fatigue. Then we have this big fire that breaks out in the middle of an economic development project. And again, I think we tried to demonstrate that sense of resilience, and we're proud of the Flanagan family for their resilience and their stick-to-itness, that they didn't deter and get distracted, and they said, we're going to continue to go forward. And then the most recent, the building that actually was on the news was the Shane Furniture building. I went and watched the clip again, and the guy he threw a brick. He faked like it fell down, and he threw it on the camera. That was pretty interesting. But he did that, and that was the Shane building. So now that building's down. So now we're in a different place where it's now about rebuilding. And could you speak a little bit about, I'd love to talk through about the journey of the esports project and how that came to be. There's a little visual here. I'm actually using this to help me keep track of what I'm supposed to talk about. The Forge 417. If you could talk a little bit about that journey, because it was because of you and your connections and your network that actually got to the place where it is. When I was pitching, when I was running for office, I was pitching for us to have an innovation center, somewhere where people could access technology, be an incubator, help create businesses. And we were down that path, having meetings with the community college. And I'll never forget, it was like 11:56. The meeting was supposed to end at noon or something. And one of your colleagues that you had engaged shared, what about esports? And then we've been on this path. So can you talk a little bit about the esports project?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like you said, we were unfortunately faced with a horrible fire that completely ruined one of the buildings that was prime for redevelopment. And we were all on a phone call, just as the mayor said, a conference call to say, okay, we're going to pivot. What do we do now? And my colleague, somebody I've worked with for many years, she's a fantastic economic development consultant and attorney. Her name's Stephanie Mercado. Yeah, she's very, very talented. Said, what about esports? And I don't know about you in the room, but I didn't really know what esports was. I was like, yeah, how about that esports? So we learned about it and engaged partners to find out, test the market, see what was out there, what kind of interest there was in esports. And what we all learned was that esports is the fastest growing sport and also one of the fastest growing industries in the world, not just in the country. So there was tremendous growth opportunity with that. And it was something that would put Elyria on the map, something that would make it different, would invite people that wouldn't otherwise come to Elyria to come check it out. So we validated this as a concept that really had some merit to it and had to figure out how to make it work from that point. And one of the challenges was that it was a historic rehabilitation project. And those are typically incredibly expensive and require significant subsidy to make it work. And we had to start thinking about, okay, what are those subsidies? What are those things like new market tax credits, historic tax credits, and a new program from the state, which is transformational mixed-use development tax credits, and say, we think that this project fits that, and that if we get those, we can help make these numbers work for the developer and for the community. And we were very fortunate that Lorain County Community College announced a partnership with that. So now we had not only an esports arena that was a historic redevelopment project in a historic downtown, it was also now a workforce project. And it was going to be that much more dynamic because of it. And we worked together with the consultant, with all the different partners to get as many of those tax credits as we could possibly get. And Stephanie Mercado led that effort, and she was incredibly successful in doing that. So one of the things that transformational mixed-use development tax credit I spoke of is worth 10% of the project. It was the first time it was ever awarded in the state of Ohio, and we were fortunate enough that our project was selected for that. And that really helped make that happen and go forward.
No doubt. Let's give a hand to that. Some good stuff. So we got the esports rolling, so that's in motion. We saw them doing some deconstruction today to start that, or yesterday we saw that together. And so we see that's moving forward. But another big piece of the project was of downtown was helping people feel safer and engaging downtown. So one of my things coming into office, I used to work at the Nord Family Foundation. Shout out Nick Turner from Nord Family Foundation. I got the chance to travel around the country and see what other communities were doing in terms of economic and community development. And one of the key tools I saw, we talked about tools earlier, one of the key tools I saw communities had was a community development corporation. And it was a third-party kind of public-private partnership organization that could get specific grant dollars to do larger transformational projects. So we started a CDC, and against some of the conventional wisdom, I said it was important for us to build the plane while we're flying it, and that we shouldn't just be having a bunch of planning meetings, but we need to be doing something at the same time when we're planning. And so we created this event called Third Thursdays. We hired some consultants to help with coordinating, to help with booking musicians and vendors. And really, how many of y'all been to a Third Thursday so far? Okay, about half the room. If the rest of y'all need to be there this year. Starts in June, the third Thursday, the evening. Come on down to Ely Square and have a good time with us. But through that work, we continued to mold and build that organization, and eventually that organization created its own board and hired their first executive director. So I'm going to ask Monet Roberts to stand, as well as Mike Griffin, if you're here as well, to please stand. So Monet's the new director of that CDC, so please be in touch with her in terms of the work that we're going to be doing to help transform downtown. You know, Don, one of the things I think about is, all right, where do we go from here with downtown? You know, we have this kind of missing tooth with Shane being missing there. We have a lot of empty storefronts, but one of the things we've spent a lot of time talking about is the residential side of downtown and getting people to live downtown. So let's talk a little bit about where do we go from here from a downtown standpoint. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so we, despite the fact that we have the esports arena coming and this huge investment, there's still plenty of opportunity of room to grow. And we've been thinking hard about how we renovate some of the storefronts that are currently vacant and what that will look like, what types of retailers or commercial establishments will be complementary to something like the esports arena. We've been thinking about parking and what that's going to look like and how that's going to be impacted by lots of visitors that wouldn't otherwise be there, be downtown. And we've started to work in partnership with Elyria Community Partnership on a downtown plan to complement the work that's going to be done and really focus on additional beautification and safety. So looking at things like murals, different public art installations, things that will enhance that experience for anyone that comes downtown Elyria.
No doubt, no doubt. And now let's shift gears and talk about Midway Mall. Midway Mall, again, is something that's been near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Midway Mall. My mom worked there 20 plus years, so I grew up going to Midway Mall, whether it was the Aladdin's Arcade or sneaking into Spencer's and looking at all the crazy stuff inside of Spencer's. We got any Spencer's fans out there? Anybody else sneak into Spencer's? Okay, we got some of those. Spencer's is a fun store. So I spent a lot of time. So it was somewhat of a personal thing for me to try to see Midway Mall get turned around. Just to give you some context on the journey, we started meeting with the folks who were owners of the mall before I even started. We had a meeting with them in December of 2019. And we knew that we had a heavy lift because we had an absent landlord that was in the mix, and we knew that retail was on a decline. So we put our best effort forward and started coordinating and working together with the developer. We did a zoning overlay, which was the first time the city had done something like that in its history, to open the door for light industrial investment to come to Midway Mall. We spent countless hours negotiating and trying to get the two parties to work together to try to get one single ownership. We worked with the Cleveland Clinic, had a great project lined up with the Cleveland Clinic and those developers. And then most recently, the Port Authority has swooped in and acquired the mall. And now we are in this place of almost starting fresh. And it's been exciting to be able to have conversations with Jim Miller. We met last week to talk about the mall and the openness that's on the table right now. The openness to opportunity. And I've shared very publicly about my desires to see the highest and best use. When we think about what's happening globally with people reshoring, the chip shortage we had, the role that the community college is playing in terms of training people for that industry, I still believe in the healthcare opportunities that exist there. But in particular, tying back into what we pitched at the Ridge, too. I remember that. We were pitching the mall at the Ridge. I just thought about that. So, yeah, we were going around pitching to folks. So yeah, we really think there's an opportunity to make things. Again, Elyria has a legacy of making things, and Midway Mall could be a great location to make things again here in the city of Elyria. So our next steps, are for us to convene these partners, our national partners, our state partners, the county and local partners, to really help craft what is the highest and best use of Midway Mall. We know all roads have to come through Elyria, and we appreciate the county's partnership on that. But any thoughts you want to share around Midway Mall? Because you were critical in that zoning overlay, helping to initiate that. And any other thoughts you want to share on the Midway journey?
Yeah, thank you. So we have, we acknowledge we have some antiquated zoning in the city of Elyria. It is something that we hadn't done a massive overhaul in. We've made tiny changes over time. And the reason that's important is because when we were originally working with the mall owners, we were talking about what would it take to get an industrial tenant in here, somebody who would do light manufacturing, clean manufacturing, that would really be a good source of income tax, quite frankly, into the city, but also capitalize on that talent that we have here in the city. And like the mayor said, we are an area, we are a region that makes things. So how do we tap into that and make it a more attractive place for that to happen? And the developer said, your idea is great, you're not zoned for that. And we thought, okay, so how do we zone it and make sure we don't kick anyone out, but that we allow for this new opportunity? And the answer was an overlay district, which would allow for general business and light industrial within the same area. And that was something that our city ordinances didn't even allow us to do that. So we had to go create an ordinance that would allow us to do that and then actually create the district. And that was very helpful in reimagining what that space could be, what it could look like, and knowing that the area, the neighboring properties and everybody are open to that use, that we as a community really say that that is a potential use that we would like to see there, because there was overwhelming support for that when we did that at that time from the community. So that's one of the things. We want to see the daytime population grow there so that all of the businesses in that surrounding area can be successful. And I think one of the important takeaways is, even though our direction may have shifted a little bit and we have new partners at the table, there's a tremendous amount of legwork, the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to understand what the water connections are, how the electricities run throughout the complex, zoning requirements. And the great thing is, we've done a lot of that work. So as we move forward, we have a leg up on understanding how the facility operates and reimagining what's possible and how moving forward.
Now, another thing I wanted to make quick commentary on, again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the pandemic, but I think it played a huge role in terms of how we shifted utilization of our resources. So when the pandemic hit, we got our CARES Act money. One of the first things you helped lead was creating a grant program to support small businesses, and we gave grants out to small businesses to help them reconfigure, help them stay in business. Then when we got American Rescue Plan funds, even backing up, we used our community improvement funds as well and created another program to give grants to businesses to help them keep going. Then when we got American Rescue Plan funds, we allocated $1 million towards the program, ended up administering over $700,000 to get to small businesses, again, to keep them going, help them stay alive, and help them thrive. And now we're in this unique moment that we have here in terms of we still have American Rescue Plan funds. Downtown is at this tipping point where you got a $30 million plus project that's in progress. You have empty tooth, you have empty storefronts, you have these events that can be built off of. But when I think about the state of downtown, I think about fragility. I think that, and one of the thing I mentioned earlier about being an election year and being weird was like things that people were just excited about 3 months ago. They're like, the same people are like, I don't like that anymore. And it's like, come on, y'all, stay focused, come on now, let's not hurt ourselves in the midst of this. So, when I think about where we need to go, I think we're asking our community to have a sense of persistence, that stick-to-itness that Flanagan showed with the project after losing a huge building, still having that stick-to-itness to want to stick with it, and just the reality of patience. That is like a bad word to me at many times because I'm not really great at being patient with things, as you know, working with me every day. But I realize this stuff just takes time, and I think democracy is built that way so that someone can't just take it and pivot and go somewhere wacky with it, but that patience. So I think what we're asking our community is be persistent, be patient, be positive, keep that positivity that still exists. But what thoughts would you have in terms of the state of downtown and where we should go from here? And then we'll talk about Midway.
Yeah, so there's so much good things in the work for downtown, but I think if we have a gap that we need to address, it is tenant improvements. So businesses that are coming into the city, they don't necessarily own the property, but they want to make those tenant improvements. I would say that that's definitely a gap we see where there can be an opportunity. Also investing in some of the infrastructure, some of the sidewalks, some of the lighting. These are all things that we are brought up to us pretty consistently that need to be addressed. And the city's been fortunate to get some grant funds in the past that have helped take care of some of those things, but but those grant dollars are limited. They're limited to what you can use them on. They don't come all the time. So there's definitely some gaps there. So I think that there's a huge potential for downtown, but there's definitely still room for improvement and investment.
No doubt about it. And then in terms of Midway Mall, as I shared before, I think when we have conversations with Jobs Ohio and we get emails of people who are interested in doing business in the state, we think there's a great opportunity for the light industrial market here in the city of Elyria. And our encouragement, our word for the folks who are interested in getting involved is, be persistent again and have that focus. I think, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the politics involved in a little bit, but I just think, we have a great opportunity with Midway Mall. It's one of the best sites in the state of Ohio, and I don't want us to miss the opportunity, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But do you have any closing thoughts you want to share around any of the economic development projects? And then I got a surprise for you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So I would say, just echoing your comments, you have to have patience when it comes to economic development. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes that is not made known to the general public. There's times when projects are fragile, when they're confidential, and you're asked to not speak on them. So there is a lot going on behind the works. When you talk about permitting process and zoning and looking through building plans, all of those things go into a project. So we ask you to be patient, but as the mayor said, be positive. We hear a lot of negative comments. Even when something good happens, we hear people be skeptical, and I get it because we're a community that's had a lot of heartbreak and a lot of disinvestment over the years, but it's a different time. There is so much opportunity in the city and so many good things going on and so many great people that we really have to remember that and remember that we are blessed as a community and carry that forward.
That's good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Well, Dawn, as I've shared with you many times, I appreciate the journey you've been on with us. I appreciate your leadership that you've provided, not only in the community, but as you know, there's a lot of internal work that has to be done to make these things work, and appreciate the leadership that you've demonstrated even inside of City Hall. And we wanted to give you a nice little award for your excellence and leadership that you've displayed at the city. So we got this nice little award. We want to recognize you for your excellence and leadership and service to the city of Elyria. So thank you, Dawn. Thank you. For sure. Thank you for your hard work. Yes, good stuff. All right, I'm going to give my closing remarks, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. So as I mentioned before, we have a great opportunity at hand right now in the city of Elyria. When you look at our financial standing, we carried over the largest cash balance we've had in the past 20 years. Between the American Rescue Plan Act, between a strong economy that we have in the city of Elyria, we have a unique opportunity to do something meaningful that'll have benefits for the next 40 years. I don't like to use the word transformational anymore, but truly an opportunity to do something remarkable. But the challenge is, again, as Dawn mentioned, there's a lot of naysaying, a lot of despair, a lot of heartbreak that people walk around with, and they've lost hope. So again, my challenge to us is to not give up on having a broader discussion, having a broader conversation, of pressing pause for a second and saying, what's most important right now in the city of Elyria? Where should these resources go that we have? And it's going to take you all being at the table. One of my pieces that I often say around politics is the reason politics is in the state it's in is because good people don't get involved. They look at it and say, there's no way I'm putting my family through that or I'm going through that. But when you do that, you leave it to what we have. And so I'm asking you all to really think about what is your role in playing a role in politics and running for office and supporting candidates and advocating around issues that are important to you. Because otherwise, the money is just going to go to the status quo. It's going to go to doing the same thing we've been doing 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and we'll keep getting the same results that we've been getting. So it's going to take new voices at the table that's going to need to be bold and maybe slide your own chair up to the table, but that's what it's going to take. We need business professionals to get into the game, that have experience hiring and firing people, that have experience doing economic development deals. These are the people we need at the table. And so my challenge to you, as someone who's come from the sector where I was a CEO, managed an organization, and coming into this space, into this politics space, you're needed. And I can't stress that enough, that we need you at the table. And now I got to look at Jim, because I'm always asking Jim to get him on. Jim doesn't live in the city of Elyria, so don't worry, y'all. But I'm always talking to Jim about getting involved, because his voice is important. He's a business professional. He knows the city, but his voice needs to be elevated in the city. And so many of you carry a rich history as well, a rich experience that we need in the city as well. So challenge to you all, again, it's to love louder, to lead courageously, and let's never go back to the way things were. We really don't even have a choice to go back to the way things were, but for some of us, we want to go that direction. And I'm asking us to take on the challenge to move forward, to have forward-thinking ideas, and to use our strengths and use our collective power to move forward.
Good morning, this is Chief Pelko from the Elyria Police Department. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happened at the Elyria Police Department in 2022. The police department works off a $14 million budget, and most of this is for personnel. Over the past year, we hired 16 officers, 2 dispatchers, a part-time retired officer to assist us in evidence, and a new chaplain. As of today, we have 84 police officers, 10 dispatchers, 7 support staff, 3 part-time support staff, 3 chaplains, and 6 auxiliary officers. In 2022, we handled 35,417 calls for service. This was an increase of 5% from 2021. Arrests in both of our cases were also up 16% from the previous year. We had a 5% increase in issued traffic citations for a total of 3,299 were issued. Our traffic crashes decreased 4% as we had 1,175 crashes in the city. Of these crashes, we had 1 fatal, which was down from our 7 fatal crashes the previous year. There were 9 homicide investigations with 11 victims. They took in 44 firearms from these investigations, performed 111 search warrants. Our narcotics division looked into 220 cases. There were 151 overdoses with 21 overdose deaths investigated. They seized almost 2,000 grams of fentanyl and heroin, 595 fentanyl pills, 837 grams of meth, 2,000 grams of marijuana, 18 firearms, and confiscated $48,000 in cash. Also, our investigation division collaborated with the FBI, where 32 suspects were indicted federally. These suspects were your more violent career offenders that will get harsher sentences by federal prosecution. Our investigation division also conducted a minor sex trafficking undercover operation in collaboration with the Internet Crimes Against Children and our prosecutor's office. This sting apprehended 7 online predators who were trying to engage in sexual activity with minor children. We take our training seriously at the Elyria Police Department. We had 4 in-service trainings at PD where every officer is trained in the updated and best practice training. We had some major projects at the Elyria Police Department for 2022. We purchased 5 new police cruisers, 3 new unmarked Chevy Malibus. We also now have CopLogic, which is an online reporting system where the public can report minor crimes from the convenience of their own home by using their cell phone or even their computer. This will free up some officer time so they can do some more proactive policing and patrolling for the citizens of Elyria. We had several grants in 2022. Almost $3 million worth of grants were obtained by the Elyria Police Department. We received a $2.75 million grant through ARPA for a reduction in violence in hiring, retention, and recruiting grant. We received $25,000 for a wellness grant for the betterment of personnel working at the police department. We received a $40,000 grant to replace all the body armor for our police officers. In 2022, our records department processed over 4,800 records requests. In 2022, we received the AAA Community Traffic Safety Platinum Award. This award was for outstanding service, dedication, and significant impact made by improving the quality of life through traffic safety and programming. The Elyria Police Department also has auxiliary officers which work at the police department. These are officers that volunteer their time and energy to assist us with special events. The officers performed a total of 1,769 volunteer hours and helping us out with special events and coming in when there were emergency situations where they were needed. So one of our other major projects was body cams. Body cams were implemented this year with our patrol officers and rolled out for all patrol officers to start wearing. And in April of this year, we'll be rolling out in-car cameras for our police officers to have in their patrol vehicles. We also have school resource officers at the City of Elyria and the Elyria Police Department. We have Officer Joe Figula, who is stationed at the high school 5 days a week, where he collaborates with the students and staff to build a relationship amongst the police department and the students and staff. As you can see, 2022 was a busy year for the Elyria Police Department. I would like to personally thank all of my officers, dispatchers, and support staff at the Elyria Police Department for making it a successful team. I would also like to thank the citizens for all of their help and their assistance and their support during the year of 2022, and we look forward to working with you in 2023. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe Pernesti. I'm City's Fire Chief. We responded to 5,500 calls for fires in EMS, 160 of which were fires in buildings, cars, grass, you name it. And of those, approximately 60 suffered a dollar loss of over $10,000. The EMS side, we responded on over 3,800 calls, which represents only less than 50% of the overall 911 calls placed in the city of Elyria for EMS.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Bevan with the Elyria Fire Department. I'm currently the EMS coordinator for the department. I work out of Fire Station number 3 at 855 Lorraine Boulevard. The Elyria Fire Department in 2022 responded to nearly 50% of all EMS related calls that came into Lorraine County 911. This totals about 68% of what we do on a daily basis. The Elyria Fire Department responds to emergency medical related calls at an advanced life support paramedic level. We are able to provide that first response ALS care prior to an ambulance arriving to get patients the best possible care and get them where they need to go quick. This is important because time matters. Just in chest pain, cardiac arrest, time is muscle, time is brain in strokes. So if we can get there, provide care quickly, get you going where you need to go, and activate the proper services, this will get you the best possible outcomes.
Life Care responded on over 8,000. And again, so of that over 8,000, we responded on about 3,500 of those. So we want to thank the administration, Mayor Whitfield and his staff for working with our firefighters union, Local 474, to increase our daily staffing, which enabled us to put, instead of 3 people at stations 3 and 4, 4 people, which gives them a greater a safety buffer when they respond and are first arriving on house fires. They can meet a national standard. We also received in 2022 some new water rescue equipment. Thanks to our partnership with water pumping, we were able to get an underwater drone with sonar capabilities and a new trailer that will allow our members to dress in and out of their water rescue equipment and clothing in a warm environment in the wintertime and a cool environment in the summer. So we want to thank and we continue our partnership with water pumping. Other than that, I would say that some of our challenges as we move forward going into 2023 is our southeast. The southeast side of town has our largest expanse of growth as far as residential and commercial development, and it is some of our longest response times. We're looking anywhere from 7 to 9 minutes for our first, what we call our first due, our first arriving fire apparatus to the southeast. Is quite a distance. We need to start looking for, in my opinion, property to build a southeast fire station to cut those response times for fires and EMS down. They do not meet the standard, and we need to start looking at that. Also, we need to look at replacing the vehicle behind me, our toolbox on wheels. Our tower is a 2009, so we want to maintain getting this apparatus into reserve status and build a new apparatus. Those are some of the challenges, and as always, residents can reach out to me here at Elyria Fire Department. I'm Joe Pernesti, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Daryl Farkas, Building Official and Zoning Administrator for the City of Elyria Building Department. The Office of the Building Department is responsible for the construction oversight for new and existing buildings, assuring conformance with local and state regulations as it pertains to safety and general welfare of the community. This includes new and proposed repairs for commercial and residential construction projects, property maintenance enforcement and blighted properties, and zoning as it pertains to the intended use of the site and structure's proposed locations, just to name a few. The building department staff consists of multi-state certified personnel that have many years of practical experience and technical experience in the construction and enforcement field. With the recent construction surge in all quadrants of the city, they have been quite busy. This includes multiple new residential homes, subdivisions, commercial projects, to name a few. Fieldstone Lake subdivisions located in Chestnut Ridge, west of Bender, the current phase has 201 new single-family homes proposed and a total of 436 for the entire subdivision. River Run Landing, located on east side of Middle Avenue, is the first phase of 41 new homes proposed with a total of 109 single-family homes for the new subdivision. Four Seasons at Chestnut Ridge, located at Chestnut Ridge east of Bender, the subdivision is recently completed and has a brand new total of 229 homes. Pikewood Manor, located on Lorraine Boulevard and 52nd Street, has a total of 132 lots for the manufactured style home projects. Ridgewater, located on West Ridge and Fall Road, has a total of 86 new single-family homes, condominium style proposed for the entire subdivision. Harvest Meadows, located in Indian Hollow, west side, is the first phase of 65 new homes with a total of 230 single-family projects for the new subdivision. Oak Tree Place at Abbey and South Logan has a total of 109 new condo-style homes proposed for the entire subdivision. Plus, 2 more subdivisions are in the planning stages. The city has a steady growth in new commercial and residential projects along with many alterations of existing structures. For example, in 2020, 109 new homes were approved and issued. In 2021, 113, and in 2022, 161 new homes were approved. This is a growth of 48%. Regarding commercial activity, we had 138 projects in 2020, 129 in 2021, and 135 for 2022. The information mentioned herein is a snippet of the overall construction projects for both residential and commercial over the years to provide some perspective on the inspection activity as a result of the growth. The department received a total of 3,228 approvals, or better known as permits, for the 2020 year, resulting in an average of 5,160 inspections completed by the team. In 2021, a total of 3,332. Inspections completed by the team in 2022 totaled 3,444, resulting in 8,507 inspections completed by the team. That is a 65% increase. I would also like to mention some exciting changes and projects that are currently on the horizon and underway, of which include an updated land use plan, an overhaul of our local codified ordinance. This overhaul is the first in 50 years and will create a game plan for the city's current growth and will also provide a cohesive and positive foundation for the city's future. The other exciting news is the creation and near release of the e-permits, of which allows users access to applications, projects online, and in essence creates a one-stop shop in lieu of the past paper process. As always, if a question arises that may not be listed on the website, please feel free to call or leave a message or send an email, and staff will typically respond the next business day or will direct you to the rec department for further guidance. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Samuel Jacob. I'm the water team leader for City of Elyria. I was appointed water team leader in late 2021, and I was asked to lead the water team. By bringing together water pumping, water distribution, and the utilities office, we have created a synergy which we are more efficient as a team than individually. The Elyria water system supplies drinking water to Elyria, the surrounding townships, cities of Amherst, North Ridgeville, and Northern Ohio Rural Water, serving about 120,000 people and businesses. The water team strives to produce and deliver the highest quality of water and have the best customer service experience for our customers. We work together as a team, helping each other. We brainstorm and think outside the box to increase productivity and customer service. In 2023, we'll be working on more education for our staff and managers. We'll be hosting training for the team and the city of Elyria. Education is a lifelong learning experience. Since 2021, we have secured over $2,314,000 in grants and forgivable loans for the city of Elyria. We are in the process of applying for more grants and forgivable loans in 2023. We also sell bulk water. I'm continuing to work with existing communities that buy water from us to see if they want to purchase more water, and a few other communities who may want to buy water from us in the future. A bit of history on the water plant and system. The water pumping plant is located in the city of Lorraine and pumps water to Elyria via large water mains. This is where the water system for Elyria starts. The original water plant for Elyria was built in 1879 on the Black River and pumped untreated water to the distribution system. The original structure still remains on Mussey Avenue in Elyria. Then in 1898, Elyria's leaders realized that Black River water was not safe to drink, and after a number of disease outbreaks, they decided in 1901 to create a new water plant, and property was purchased in Lorraine on the shores of Lake Erie. A new water plant was constructed and treated water was pumped starting in 1903 from Lorraine to Elyria. In 1922, a new 8 million gallon a day pump was built and put into service. The plant is still located today in Lorraine and is now rated at 22 million gallons a day pumping capacity and will soon be expanded to close to 30 million gallons a day. 2 intake pipes are located approximately 1,500 feet from the shore and bring water into the plant. Here, the modern water plant treats the water and pumps it to our customers via 3 large mains to Elyria, 2 mains to Amherst, and 1 main to Northern Ohio Rural Water. The plant operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is staffed by 2 operators. The plant follows all the rules and regulations of the Ohio and U.S. EPA. Elyria has 2 EPA Class 4 operators, the highest level attainable. We are one of the few communities that have 2 Class 4 operators in the state. Chemical tests are run hourly by our EPA certified operators and lab techs on the water. Over 80,000 chemical and bacteriological tests are run yearly. Elyria has 5 water towers, 2 pump stations in the system that hold approximately 4 million gallons of water. In 2022, the water plant pumped over 4.5 billion gallons of water to our customers from the shores of Lake Erie. With the population growth in the region, water demand is increasing, and we will be here to meet the demand.
Hello, I'm Deborah Connor, Public Works Supervisor for the City of Elyria Public Utilities Department. Our Public Utilities Office is the administrative arm of the water team. We are the keepers of customer documentation, statistical data such as water consumption, meter data, and other pertinent utility information. We follow Chapter 939 water rules and regulations and city ordinances. Our billing staff processes approximately 23,000 utility bills on a monthly basis and approximately 18,000 stormwater bills on a quarterly basis. Each meter is either read by the meter reader or brought into our new billing system by our meter reading system. Readings are taken in 30-day intervals. Billings then follow 7 to 10 days later. Customer service staff provide services to customers at the utility window and handle phone calls daily. On a busy day, there could be on an average of 110 customers assisted at the service window. Daily, on average, there are approximately 20 hours of phone calls received and returned. During the fourth quarter of 2023, a customer portal will be introduced to our customers. Customers will be able to log into their utility accounts and view their water consumption in real time. High consumption can quickly be determined if you are at home or away. Staff will be able to assist all customers with signing up for this new product. I have a few slides to introduce the new portal and show how the features will be offered. The first slide talks about how it will empower customers to better manage and adjust their own water use based on looking at their consumption. Gives utility customers direct access to their water consumption. Data will be easy to be followed. And it offers an effective tool for conservation initiatives and compliance mandates. There will be a dashboard that can be viewed hourly, daily, monthly, and yearly for water consumption, so you can identify how your usage is going. If you have multiple accounts, you'll have the ability to add one or more residents to one account. If you have multiple meters, they can be viewed all on one account, and it will send alerts and notifications to you. You can set your threshold, so if it goes over a certain amount, it will tell you you've exceeded that amount. And the last slide is just an introduction to what some of the screenshots will look like. It will be a web-based application that works across all devices, so you can always be up to date, even on your cell phone. It's showing the different dashboard options. You can quickly view a 30-day daily average. It just gives you all the available information at your fingertips. Thank you.
I'm Dave Rothkerry. I'm the operations manager for City of Elyria Water Distribution. What we do here is we maintain 230 miles of pipe from shores of Lake Erie at our water pumping plant into the city. We have 2,500 fire hydrants that we take care of and over 5,000 valves to control the flow of water throughout the city. We have 26,000 or so service connections to homes and businesses. A lot of those now being of age are containing lead lines, and we've been working with the Ohio and federal EPA and getting grant money to replace these lead lines for the betterment and safety of the public. It's been very much so, around 600 that we've done at no cost to the customers, $2 million in forgivable loans from the Ohio EPA, and in another 500,000 set to start soon.
Hi, welcome to the City of Elyria Wastewater Pollution Control Plant. We are the final stage of the water cycle that you've been hearing about. The city's wastewater plant was built in 1929 and has had several upgrades over the years, the most recent being in the mid-1980s. We are currently in the design and construction phases of the next major plant upgrade. Several projects have already been completed, and there are many additional projects scheduled over the next 20 years so that we can be compliant with the new EPA regulations and continue to protect public health and the environment. The wastewater department has several divisions: administration, plant operations, plant maintenance, sewer maintenance, industrial pretreatment, and our full-service environmental laboratory. We have 65 employees and we are a 24/7 operation. Our treatment plant takes in and purifies approximately 5 million gallons of used wastewater on a typical day. When it rains, the plant is designed to process 30 million gallons per day. The used water comes from a variety of sources. Elyria's residents, for example, showers, bathtubs, laundry, dishwashers, and toilets. Our commercial users, such as restaurants, laundromats, and car washes. And our larger industries, which have employee restrooms and showers, cafeterias, contact cooling water, and pre-treated processed waters. The wastewater is cleaned up here at the plant by flowing through several treatment processes, for example, screens to remove rags, twigs, and wipes, grit removal to remove heavy solids such as materials from garbage grinders, coffee grounds, and corn kernels, removal of fine solids and floatables such as cooking grease, removal of chemicals and compounds that are dissolved in the water such as dish soaps, laundry detergents, shampoos, and conditioners, phosphorus, and ammonia. We use ultraviolet light to destroy the bacteria, protozoans, and viruses to disinfect the water before it finally discharges to the Black River, where it literally looks like drinking water flowing to the river and ultimately back to Lake Erie. Our discharge is overseen by and controlled through a permit from Ohio EPA. So, how does all this wastewater get to the plant? There are 163 miles of sanitary sewers that convey the sewage to the plant. Elyria also has 8 miles of combined sewers in the oldest parts of downtown. These combined sewers convey both sanitary sewage and stormwater to the plant for treatment. We also have 108 miles of storm sewers which convey rainwater from the streets when it rains to the Black River. The Sewer Maintenance Division is responsible for the cleaning and CCTV inspection of every mile of sewer in the city. They have 4 sewer cleaning trucks and 2 CCTV camera trucks that allow them to efficiently and effectively accomplish this huge workload. Any pipe defects that are found during the CCTV inspection process that need to be repaired are reported to the city engineer's office and the work is scheduled. Additionally, there are 27 pump stations throughout the city that pump sewage from low-lying areas up to the larger sanitary sewers so it can continue to flow by gravity to the treatment plant. These pump stations have numerous pumps, motors, valves, and control systems that need to be inspected and serviced daily. The operators of the plant receive alarms whenever a problem occurs at one of the stations, and the lift station maintenance team is dispatched to remedy the situation. We are here to help. If you or someone you know is experiencing sewage backup issues, please call our 24/7 hotline at 440-366-2211, option 0 to talk with an operator. They will dispatch one of our staff members to respond to your location to help identify the problem and do what they can to assist. The service is available at no charge day or night every day of the year. If the operator is making his or her hourly rounds when you call, please leave your name, number, and a brief description of the problem on the recorder, and they will call you back shortly. We hope you have a better understanding of the water cycle in Elyria. Please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us if you need additional information or if we can be of assistance.